Hey guys, Zero here, and today I want to talk about a very special game. Um, this is Bravely Default for the 3DS. It came out coming up on 10 years now because it came out in 2012, and we're in 2020, so I'm not sure what month it came out, but yeah, this will be 10 years. Um, but I just have to talk about this game. I played it back when it came out, and it's been a long time, so I had forgotten a lot of things about it. But since I have it right in front of me again now, I feel like I can talk about it a little bit more. I'm going to leave the music on, even if it's a little bit distracting and hard to talk over, just because the music in this game is so good. So yeah, you can play this on any of the 3DS models. Original, which is what I'm playing it on here. XL, 2DS, new 3DS, XL, all that stuff. There is some 3D, so if you want to play it with 3D effects, then obviously you don't want to play it on 2DS. This is a traditional Japanese turn-based RPG. It's actually a spiritual successor to Final Fantasy, the four crystals, four heroes of light, whatever it was, I don't remember. But it is a very hardcore old school JRPG. I've noticed that recently, in some RPGs that I play, even if they're trying to be JRPGs, you'll select your attacks and it doesn't even let you pick what enemy. I can't remember specific. There was one game in particular where this was a really big annoyance, but you would pick your attacks for all your characters, and then it would just decide randomly. I think this actually happened in one of the Paper Mario games. I don't remember if it was Color Splash. It might have been Color Splash, but yeah, it would just whoever it felt like attacking, it would attack, and it made it very hard to plan out a strategy that way because it was kind of random. You never knew what moves were going to be used on what enemies. This game's not like that at all. You need to micromanage everything. It's very precise. But I'm just gonna give you kind of a rundown on the game if you haven't seen it before. Pretty sure it's made by Square Enix because it is a Final Fantasy spiritual successor. So right now I'm in a town. When you're in a town, you get a zoom out of the town if you haven't touched it in a couple minutes. But then as soon as you move, it'll zoom back in. So right now I have Adia, one of my favorite characters, as my party leader, so she's walking around on the map. But like I said, if you stand still for a while, it will zoom out and kind of give you this full view of the entire town that you're in. You also have this tab here on the left that you can open and close at any time. That has shortcuts to save, this little town building minigame, your little book that's basically an encyclopedia for every name, item, location in the game, in case you want to read up on something, and just some other stuff. But you can hide that. I keep it open just because it gets updated every so often and I want to check on it. But yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to leave the town here. So first I'll go into my menu. Alright, so this is Aerie on the bottom screen here. She kind of gives you a hint on where to go next. She's the flying fairy that the game is named after, because it's technically called Bravely Default Flying Fairy. But yeah, so up on the top screen here you have your four main characters: Adia, Tiz, Anya. I can never pronounce her name right. It's French, so it's Agnes, even though it looks like it's Agnes. And Ring-a-Bell. So right now, as you can see, all my people are level 15. And you have your typical, HP, MP. Now, job classes are super important in this game, which kind of reminds me of, Final Fantasy 11 Online, or, Final Fantasy Tactics, especially, where, jobs were the, main point of that game. So, obviously, it changes, your outfit, it changes your abilities. If I wanted to change somebody's job at any point, I could basically just go into the job menu, click on the person, and then here's the wheel of jobs that I've unlocked so far. There's like 24 or something like that in total. Some of them are optional. You have to like seek out side bosses and side quests in order to unlock them. So right now, the only ones that I have are, so you start out as a freelancer. That's what everybody gets. The next one you learn is monk, white mage, black mage, knight, thief, and merchant. So you can see there's no gaps in between any of these, which means I've done all the side quests to unlock all the possible classes so far. So right now, my party, I have Ringabel as a black mage. Black mage, white mage for Agnes. Tiz is a monk, and Adia is a knight. She's a little bit behind everybody level-wise, just because I didn't decide to make her a knight until recently. So there are some awesome quality of life enhancements that you can do in this game that are so awesome, and purists of, you know, really difficult JRPGs like what's the one that I just played for the Switch? Shin Megami Tensei. So games like that where like they're known for being brutally hard, like you might not like this, but there's options in here to make things easier. It's not really like cheating, but like I don't use it as like a cheat code. I just use it sparingly in order to help me like here and there. But basically, so if you go into tactics, and you go to config, and then you go to difficulty, you can change not only the difficulty of the game, but you can change whether or not you gain XP, Pig, which is like the money currency of the game, whether or not you get job points, which levels up separately from your normal level, your base level, and then encounter rate. So right now it's at minus 100%, which means basically you would get in no battles. So you can turn it all the way off, which lets you free to run around dungeons or maps or whatever you want without getting into battles. Obviously you wouldn't want that on the whole game, because if you never get into a battle, you're never gonna level up, and then the next like boss fight that you're forced to participate in, you would absolutely get decimated. So that's not what I use it for. But it's nice that you can either do minus 50%, which, you know, makes it so you don't get into that many battles. Because that's one thing. So the battles in this game are random. You don't see the enemies on the map. But if you just want to make the battles a little bit less, you can go down to minus 50%. So 0 would be normal. Plus 50 increases it, and plus 100 is nice for when you're level grinding. Basically means like every 2 steps you take, you're going to get into a battle. So if you're in a safe, you know, kind of environment, so like for example, let me just put it on normal. So if I were to leave this town that I'm in, I've visited this town a few times already, so I'm kind of like, I don't want to say over leveled, but I'm like in a good place. So if I were to get into a battle around this area, I could handle it pretty easily. You know, I might get attacked once or twice. I might not. I might get like a flawless. You get bonus for like for defeating all the enemies in one turn, for not taking any damage. That increases your XP when the battle's over. But like if I was to get into a battle here, it wouldn't really hurt me. Like it wouldn't be like something I have to struggle with. I could kind of go through it just like autopilot. And that's good for leveling up. So you would want to crank it up to plus 100% so that you get in a whole bunch of battles. And you can even see the time of day is changing here. And that would, you know, be a good way to level up, because you're just getting in a bunch of battles, but you're like plowing through them because, you know, at this point they're not difficult at the part where I am. So what I'll do is I'll kind of run down towards where I'm supposed to be. And since I have the battles set back to normal, I might get into a battle, I might not before I get there. Okay, I didn't. So what we're going to do is we're going to enter. So this is the dungeon that I am currently in. I've already unlocked the entire map, as you can see on the bottom screen there. And also this destination marker up here at the top is where I'm supposed to be going. You can tell because there's a little yellow bubble with an exclamation point, and then there's a little save hat, which is, there's like this red dude like in a cloak. He's kind of like the merchant from Resident Evil, and whenever you see one of them, it usually means there's like a boss battle coming up. So I've already gone through this giant maze-like temple of like multiple floors, but I did unlock, there was like a block here, and I hit a switch and unlocked it. So now instead of going back through all the like 4 floors, I can actually just, you know, head straight to the destination now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that, and I'll probably get into a battle, because I have to run up here. And, oh, I didn't unlock this little spot over here where there's a treasure chest. That's nice. Mithril dagger. Okay. Okay, so here's our battle. You got your cute little poses that your characters strike at the beginning of the battle. So down here, you have what's called BP. BP is basically like how many turns you can go. So if you're at 0, which is like normal, and I were to do like an attack, it would put me at -1, which means I used a turn. But then once my turn is over and all 4 of my characters have gone and all the enemies have gone, it goes back to 0. Now what you can do in this game that's interesting, and this is why it's called Bravely Default, is because you can either brave or default. Now, default is basically like skipping your turn. It also acts as like a block in most other RPGs. So it'd be like the defend option. But what happens here is if you decide to, so let's say I default on all of my characters. Default, you know, default for everybody means I'm not going to act at all this turn. And what that does is it actually increases your BP by 1. So that means you actually have one stored in the bank now. So, well, Tiz is asleep, so he didn't get to go. So that didn't count for him. But basically what this means now is that not only can I go once, like I normally would, I can actually go twice, and it would still put me just in the normal loop of like, okay, I go, the enemy goes, and then I'm back to my turn. So basically it earned me like an extra turn this round. So now I can go twice for everybody except for Tiz, because he's asleep. So right now I'm fighting these little floaty gargoyle type things right now. So what you do is you say brave, and that basically is saying, okay, I'm going to be able to go twice. So what do I want to do twice? Well, for Idea, I'm just going to attack. So I'm going to attack twice. And then for Agnes, since she is a mage, she's actually got Black Mage and White Mage abilities. So I'm going to do ability, Black Mage. I'm just going to use Blizzard. Oops, I don't want to default. I want to, let's see here. Oh, I forgot to brave with her. Okay, so brave, abilities, Black Mage, Blizzard, abilities, Black Mage, Blizzard. So that does it twice. So then I'm going to do the same thing with Ringabel, because he's a Black Mage. I'm going to brave, and you can brave as many times as you want, but that'll put you in the negative, and then that means you won't get to act for that many turns. So that's dangerous. You only want to do that if you know you're going to win within the allotted amount of turns. So I'm going to just do some Blizzard here on the gargoyle, and this may not kill them, but I'm going to execute, and I'm going to go home. So another thing, you'll see the arrows in the corner up here. You can choose to forward or super fast forward if you're just kind of like leveling or grinding. But I like to watch the animations and stuff. So I did end up killing them. I got my little victory pose. I earned 44 XP and 6 job points, and you know, nobody's close to leveling up yet, so I'm good to go there. Okay. So that's what the battle system's like. So I'm gonna go up here and talk to my little save friend. It only gets worse from here on in. Save. Okay, so we're gonna save. And then hopefully on the next screen, since this should be entering a boss battle type territory, you'll get to see some of the Awesome voice acting that this game has. The characters are so lovable. I love all 4 of the main cast and even some of the side characters. You might notice some of the characters are famous voice actors, like the person who voices Adia is the same person that does Morgana from Persona 5, as well as the English version of Taiga from the anime Toradora, and just a whole bunch of other animes and games that she's done. So yeah, we're gonna go up here and see if we can get a little cutscene just so you can see some of the characters interact.
It's enormous!
Even hearing the stories, I'd never expect it.
Okay, so now I'm back in control, and I have a feeling there's going to be an actual cutscene when I walk up to the crystal here. Usually with the cutscenes, the characters are zoomed in and they're like down here at the bottom with like a black bar. So hopefully we'll see that in a second. Inspect.
No! Its light is dimmer still than when I left. I've watched over the crystal all my life, but this... I've never seen this.
We need to release it from the darkness. Agnes, you know what to do, don't you?
The Mother Vestal, my predecessor, showed me as a child. A right to cleanse the crystal of any evil to befall it, and to sharpen my focus to a single point and align my breathing to the thrum of the crystal's natural rhythm. Every Vestal to come before me has poured her prayers into the crystal. The time has come to draw upon that store of will and awaken it.
You do your office proud. Now for the final step.
The Vestal garb.
Right. Without that to serve as a conduit, you won't be able to set the crystal to resonating.
The Mother Vestals was stored in the reliquary.
Lead the way. Once we have that, we can begin the rite of awakening.
Okay, so unfortunately that cutscene didn't have all the characters in it. It was just Agnes and Aerie that she was talking to. But so you'll notice another thing that says update on the little book down here. So if you click on that, it means that we've learned something new, which in our notes, we've learned something new about a location. So if you scroll down, it'll have new next to it. So we learned something new about the Temple of Wind, which it'll tell you on the bottom screen. And then once you've read it, it'll disappear. And then we also learned some new terms, which is more about the crystals. And then in the encyclopedia, we learned a new weapon. I think it's from that treasure chest I got. It was under the daggers category, and it was the mithril dagger. So that wipes out all the new stuff there. All right, so now it looks like we have to go back and do some more stuff before we can do this whole crystal process. But yeah, so now we have you see the yellow spot there. Actually, yeah, we'll go there because there's definitely going to be a cutscene there. Where is it? Should say inspect somewhere. Oh, I see, inspect.
That's the garb you need?
Yes, this is it. But the dark has beaten us here.
So that's the ceremonial garb she's supposed to be wearing, but it's been destroyed by the people that came into the temple.
Oh, look at it. It's in tatters. And it must have been such a beautiful piece.
It may not serve its function in this state, yet no other set remains to us.
What now, then? We can't perform the rite without it.
Why not give it a try as is? Even without its sacred power, the frock is deliciously holy.
Stop talking, Ring-a-Bell.
If this garb is destroyed, can we make a new one?
A set of holy vestments used in some miraculous ritual? Sure it is. Let me ask my tailor.
No, he's right. That's it. must speak with the old sage of the Yuliana Woods. He has seen to the creation of the Vestal's garbs and other ceremonial tools for generations. There's no finer craftsman. I met him only once, as a small child together with the Mother Vestal. More than a decade has passed. I cannot say whether he is still there, or even alive, but
But if he can make us a new set of vestments, why are we still standing around talking? I've never heard of these woods. Where are they? How will we get there?
I recall the forest being uncommonly dense. Also, there was a lake.
If it's large enough to float a ship, I'll land us there. Now, what of the ladies of Juliana? Are there many ladies?
Ignore him. Can we be certain this lake hasn't rotted through like the oceans? That's not how I fancy ending my life.
Well, what does Ringabel's journal have to say on the matter?
Let's have a look. Ah, here we are. Juliana, yes. The hidden heart of an ancient wood, northeast of Ansheim.
Given the book's owner, I half expected some note about the lack of women there.
Women or no, that's our next destination.
Indeed, but since we're going, let's hope for ladies.
Okay, so as you can tell just from that cutscene there, each of the characters has like a very distinct personality. Ringabel is like the ladies' man. That's all he ever talks about. Tiz is like your standard, typical hero, you know, pure of heart, always like thinking of others. He's the good guy. Agnes was like a princess priestess type thing. She's called the Vestal. She guarded the crystal of her town. And Adia was actually she was actually like a knight of the enemy's side. But she didn't like the way that they were, you know, being assholes, and she defected. Those aren't really like spoilers, because like you see on the box art that Idea is part of your party, and this happens very early on in the game. I'm only... does it tell me on here? I think it tells me when I go to save how far along I am in the game, but I think I'm like 5 hours in. Or 6 hours or something like that. But yeah, so the cutscenes are cute because you get to see like the outfits that the characters are wearing based on their job class. But I just like the art style. I know it's like a chibi art style, but I really like the way that the characters look. I like their voices. I like their personalities. The battles in this game are fun. The music is awesome. The art style of like not just the characters, but like the locations and everything is just awesome. The story is good. Like, God, I just love this game so much, and there's so much to do. Like, like I said, there's side quests. There's all the different job classes that you can unlock. There's, you know, other types of side quests. And it's just so fun and like addicting. I play for at least a couple hours every day, and I mean, I just got this copy in the mail. I used to have it, obviously, back when it came out, but I had gotten rid of all my 3DS stuff after that a while ago. But like, I just can't recommend this game enough to anybody who hasn't played it. I mean, I'm playing it for my second time, and I still love it just because it's been so long. But I highly recommend it to anybody that's looking for like a JRPG to play. It's so charming. And like I said, because you can change the difficulty and change the things like encounter rate. So like, let's say I wanted to get out of here and go to the forest that they're talking about. But let's say I don't want to fight any enemies because I just want to get there. I don't want to worry about dying. I'm just in a hurry, like whatever the reason, I can just go into tactics, config, difficulty, encounter rate, turn it down to 0, and I am free to go wherever I want without having to worry about getting into battles, which is not something a lot of games do. I have seen it in one other game. I don't remember what it was, but you could turn off the encounter rate. But this is one of the few games that does that. So Now I'll be out on the world map, and then, you know, way over there is my destination marker, so I think I'll have to get in my airship for that. But yeah, I can't say enough good about this game. I wish I had like an hour to talk about it, but this video is already 25 minutes long, so I will let you go with that. But I'm sure you've probably heard of this game before. If you haven't played it, get a hold of it, play it. It's amazing. As you can hear, the music is beautiful. Art style is beautiful. Voice acting is beautiful. It's just a charming game. It's, you know, like I said, it'll be as difficult as you want it to be. If you want it hard, you can crank up the difficulty, crank up the encounter rate. If you want it easy, if you're like not used to playing a lot of RPGs, you can lower all those things. So it's really accessible, and it's just definitely worth playing. It's such a great game. I can't say enough good about it. So I'm going to get back to playing, and until the next video, I hope you guys have a great one.